Does anxiety put your creativity in a chokehold, imposing blocks and inner critics? An uneasy state of mind stifles imagination and the daring to picture new ideas. We sometimes faultily think of anxiety to be unavoidable and irreversible, yet methods exist to master your mind space and reignite creative fire. In this video, I'll uncover the link between anxiety and creativity, how anxiety hinders creativity, and how to overcome creative anxiety. It's time to stop anxiety from holding your creativity hostage and start using it to power original ideas. Subscribe, and let's get into it. First started making YouTube videos, I noticed an interesting relationship emerging between my creativity and anxiety levels. On one hand, the act of creating videos sparked worries about things like quality, viewer reactions, reading the comments, and comparing myself to other creators. Just the need to come up with original ideas made me anxious. At the same time, in the moments when I was feeling more anxious in general, I found it harder to think creatively and tap into that imaginative flow state. When your mind is cluttered with anxious thoughts, there's less room for creativity to flourish. As it turns out, the interplay between creativity and anxiety has been researched extensively. Studies confirm creative work leads to more anxiety across fields like art, science, math, really any domain requiring innovative problem solving. Stanford scientists conducted brain imaging studies comparing creative thinking to times of anxiety or psychosis. The scans revealed similar neural pathways lighting up during creative thinking and during anxious or psychotic states. This suggests there may be a fine line, neurally speaking, between brilliance and mental disorders in the human mind. The research also explores how anxiety has dual roles when it comes to creativity. On one hand, constant worrying, ruminating, and overthinking obviously hinder imagination and disrupt those delightful flow states of creativity. It becomes challenging to access the part of your brain responsible for generating original ideas when your mind is cluttered with anxious chatter. But anxiety can also sharpen focus, intensify emotion, and provide fresh perspectives, useful ingredients for creative work. There's even a study showing a little anxiety can help people push past mental blocks when problem solving. So, it's true to say that in proper doses, anxiety's urgency can be harnessed to push creative boundaries. But left unmanaged, it can diminish potential rather than inspire it. With insight into how our thoughts take shape, we can better discern when to rein in anxiety and when to let it wander for creative gains. The first step is finding how anxiety creeps into your creativity. The constant state of worry makes it challenging to tap into those award-winning artistic creation. Our focus gets disrupted by a swarm of anxious thoughts, like worrying about a project's deadline or reception. This stifles imaginative thinking, and many a times push people to quitting due to non-existence pressure. Also, the fear of failure or judgment can make people hesitant to fully explore creative ideas. Anxiety plants that inner critic in our minds, causing us to hold back from sharing a new dance or pitching an invention idea due to perfectionism. We become our own worst enemy. Take, for instance, you are in a classroom about to answer a question. You start worrying that you don't actually know the right answer. But then it comes to you. You do know it. However, the anxiety continues with thoughts like, what if I spell something wrong when explaining it, and everyone laughs at me? Suddenly, this exaggerated scenario exists vividly in your mind, even though no one has actually laughed or judged you. The anxiety takes a small possibility and spins it into an imaginary situation that didn't happen. But it feels so real. It's incredibly easy for our anxious brains to take control of our imaginations in this way. Minor worries become full-blown disasters played out in vivid scenes within our minds. We essentially terrify ourselves with our own creativity turned against us. The key to overcoming creative anxiety is reframing it as creative excitement. That anxious, energized feeling means your creative juices are flowing, so use them. Rather than letting anxiety paralyze you, embrace it as fuel to make something new. I know it's easier said than done. As a creative person myself, I totally get how anxiety can freeze you up. I've spent hours stuck in front of blank pages, furiously erasing sketch after sketch. Perfectionism whispering nothing is good enough. Fear screaming, what if they hate it? So how do we get unstuck? Detach your self-worth from any result or metric. Make creating about the process, not the product. Remind yourself that a Pulitzer Prize winner likely has drawers full of discarded drafts. Unpublished novels didn't make J.K. Rowling any less talented. Your creative gifts don't fluctuate based on outputs. Second, give yourself permission to make mediocre first drafts. Not everything you make has to be a masterpiece. Iterating is essential in creation. The more you create, the more you'll improve, but you have to start creating first. Silencing your inner critic and making room for imperfection breeds confidence. I used to be paralyzed by what I thought others would think before showing them anything. No one ever actually came to me and said those harsh things I imagined. I was judging myself based on what I thought they would think. Sometimes we care what people think, but it's really our own self-judgment that we project onto others as an excuse. We use imaginary condemnation from strangers, friends, or society to beat ourselves up. So, what if you assumed everyone was nice and wanting you to succeed? What if you stopped trying to read minds and predict cynical reactions? What if you realized most people are too focused on their own fears to even notice yours? Free yourself from the imagined prison of judgment. Focus on what you think, not what you assume others do. You might find people are far more supportive than the phantom critics in your head. And even if some do judge, so what? Practicing mindfulness can help ease mental chaos, at least it did for me. Journaling, sketching things that made me anxious, reflection, nature walks can give your brain a reset, allowing creative insights to take form. I know this sounds cliché, but breathe. When creative anxiety builds, a simple breathing exercise can help relax your body and mind. According to a 2017 study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, our built-in relaxation response. By stimulating the vagus nerve, slow diaphragmatic breathing signals the brain to calm down and reduces anxiety. With this reframed relationship, we can stop resisting anxiety and instead harness its energy. Transformed from creativity killer to creative asset, anxiety can compel imagination, passion, and courage to take risks. There's reason mental health facilities use art and music therapy. Expressing emotions creatively can be healing. Reframe anxiety as excitement to get into your creative potential. I'd love to hear your thoughts on dealing with creative anxiety in the comments below. Thanks for watching.